Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are playing Puyo Puyo Tetris. And I know this is very much different from what I'm usually doing, but I've been a very long time fan of Tetris, so when I saw this on Steam, I had to go ahead and pre-order it, like, I don't know, it was a week ago or something, and then it finally came out like last night. I think it's been out on like PS4 and maybe Xbox for a while, but it just got ported to Steam, and that is my main PC gaming platform, so I was excited and wanted to make a little video on it. So what you're seeing right now is one of my favorite classic Tetris modes, Sprint. It's where you clear 40 lines as fast as you can, and you can try and beat your record then. So I really like that. It was something missing from the PS3 version of Tetris, and so I've been mostly playing that. Besides Sprint though, I did try some of the other game modes. I tried online mode. Or I should say we, tried most of the multiplayer arcade modes as well, because I may have mentioned this or I may have not, but my girlfriend is also a huge fan of Tetris. This is actually how we met. Yeah, it's weird, okay, but whatever, man. We've been together 5 years now. Alright, but now that the introduction's out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the different modes. I think most people know what Tetris is, but this is a mashup of Puyo Puyo as well. I have only played Puyo Puyo, I guess it's called, one time before, and I don't remember it being called Puyo Puyo. As far as I remember, it was like a Kirby game, some weird Kirby spin-off game that had these blobs that you connect them, and the main sort of gameplay was creating chains with the blobs, so chain reactions. Since of course my heart mostly lies with Tetris, I did have a lot of fun playing the blob game as well, but most of my heart lies with Tetris, so that's mainly what we're going to be looking at. We can briefly go over the stuff that involves the blobs as well. Anyway, let's get started. They do have an adventure mode with like story and all of that stuff. I haven't even started this, to be honest. I was mostly checking out the game modes. We can play like Act 1 just to see how it's working. Also, you can choose between Japanese and English voiceovers. I think that was a pretty big selling point for this game as well. Alright, so there's a bit of story first of all, and then I guess you're going to be fighting friendly fights. She doesn't play Tetris. She doesn't play Puyo Puyo. But that's... okay. Does that mean I get to play Tetris and they have to play Puyo Puyo? Thank God, because I'm a bit better at Tetris. Obviously, you are going to get wrecked. There's no way I'm going to try and commentate and also play at the same time, so be back in a second. Are you ready for this? What the hell are you even doing over there? You're doing nothing. And then all those blocks fall on her. I guess that's it. Can we just get another line piece in here, so? Okay. Well, of course, that was the first level. It's going to be very easy. And I'll assume it goes on like that. Probably you're forced to play Puyo Puyo later on down the story mode or whatever. Oh, well, that's pretty neat. So this one is a sprint trial. I like sprints, so we're going to go ahead and go for it. Clear 10 lines within 2 minutes. I think I can do that. So I think it said 1 minute clearing 10 for the 3-star clear. So it looks like if you want the 3-star clear, you gotta be a little bit better. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much adventure mode. So that's probably actually what I'd recommend for people that aren't too familiar with Puyo Puyo or Tetris, actually, because you get a good feel for all the different game modes, I assume. You can play with Tetraminos, you can play with Puyos, so I'd say it's a good starting point. We also have solo arcade when you're playing by yourself. In solo arcade, we got versus, which you can choose between battle and endurance, a single match against 1, 2, or 3 CPU opponents, and endurance, where it's like a non-stop, endless thing until you die. So I guess the CPUs keep getting harder and harder. Next we got Fusion, which is a mixture of Tetraminos and Puyos. I've played this as well. I didn't get a good feel for it yet, but it is pretty interesting. You're always getting this option when you're choosing to fight against CPUs. Swap though I've never tried, so we're gonna go ahead and see how that works real quick. And then once you select a game mode, you can select a character. The only difference between them are their voice lines and their appearance, so nothing that alters the gameplay. We're gonna go ahead and go with her, just because. Okay, it looks like it did a little spinny thing, and now we're playing with Tetris for a while. Maybe that'll change in 25 seconds. Okay, and then it switches to the blobs. So my Tetris board down there just like stays how it is, and then I guess after a while, after another 10 seconds, it'll switch back. So I'm so not good at this blob game. And it's switching back before I can even do anything. Oh no, and now my blobs are going in the wrong way. Yeah, but that's pretty much the gist of it, I guess. Not too much else to say there. I'm pretty sure this game mode is available for local co-op as well. So we also have party mode, which is just like playing either Tetris or Puyo Puyo with power-ups. There are a lot of different power-ups. I haven't gotten familiar with them. I always kind of preferred the classic drop pieces, but the power-ups does add an exciting twist to it. It just makes it a little bit less about skill and more about which power-ups you get and where the power-ups decide to drop, because that can mess some things up as well. So it adds a little bit of RNG there, but you know, that can be exciting as well. Big Bang is kind of fun, but it gets a little bit boring. I'm just gonna play because it'd be kind of hard to explain, I guess. I thought it was kind of fun. I hope I'm just playing Tetris here. Yeah, okay. So they give you like a certain shape, and you have to fill in the Tetris pieces yourself. So, I don't know, after a while, and you learn all the shapes and everything, then, you know, I mean, it might still be exciting when, like, you're playing against a real person or something, because it would just come down to how fast you can place them in there then, and, you know, that might be pretty cool. And then, of course, depending on how fast or slow you were, the other player gets some damage, or you get damage depending on who was faster or slower. And you would usually go on to another round, but I was just so much better than that CPU that they just died. So besides that, then we have a whole new section with challenge, and there's going to be 6 more game modes in here, including sprint, one of my favorites. There's also the classic marathon. This is actually the classic of the classic. You can turn endless on here, so you're just like playing forever as long as you want to. But we're doing the classic 150 line challenge clearing thing. This one's not so much about speed as it is trying to get as much points as possible. Alright, well, it looks like back-to-back Tetrises don't make any difference, but what about T-spins? Let's try that out. 44 to 46. So in this game, doing double or triple T-spins would probably be the way. And then we have Ultra, I believe has been in other games as well. It's basically just getting as many points as you can within 3 minutes. So doing whatever you're fastest at, like either doing T-spins or clearing Tetrises. And then we got the Puyo modes up here as well. Tiny Puyo, Endless, Fever. So like I said, there is also multiplayer arcade, but unfortunately there's no challenge multiplayer. I would like to see that just so we can like both do sprint at the same time. I don't see why they couldn't have that in there. Maybe they will at one point in a update or something, hopefully. I don't know. I don't see why we couldn't like do endless or whatever, just like side by side, and then when one dies, they just have to wait for the other one to die or whatever. But you can still play the basic stuff like versus. You can even be on a team with your other player, your friend or whatever, fighting against the CPUs. So it kind of works like that. You can have it in any sort of setup you want. So we can have like 2 versus 1 versus 1, or we can have 3 versus 1, or we can have 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, whatever, it all works. One thing I'm either disappointed in or that I couldn't find are the CPU difficulty levels. There's the handicap, which you can set to different levels. But that, I think, just makes the pieces drop faster, and that's not really a handicap when you're just hard dropping them all anyway. Nothing currently in settings, customize, unless I'm just missing something, I'm not too sure. It could be the different characters, CPUs have different ability levels. Maybe some are just like naturally really good and there is no like hard, but again, I haven't really gotten into that. And of course, online is probably where a lot of people are going to spend most of their time fighting other players. Going up in the Puzzle League. This is the competitive Tetris. We can play around. When I'm playing competitive, I really just like versus, and I kind of hope that means versus Tetris, but I don't think so. Well, just in case I get stuck into a game with Puyos, I'm not going to do that right now because that takes so long for me, and the games always last forever with Puyos, so I'm not gonna risk that right now. I'll try a little bit later or so. But as far as online goes, again, I only played 2 matches, so I can't say for sure, but there is a little bit of lag when clearing lines. I didn't really notice any lag while placing pieces, which would be a very bad thing for a game like this, to have any sort of lag while placing pieces. While clearing lines, there did seem to be something, and that makes sense, you know, because when you clear lines, that's the only thing that actually affects your opponent. So maybe they're keeping the block building part not depending on the net connection, just the clearing lines part. Going over to the most exciting game mode, options and data, we can check out what's going on there. So we have stats for some of the different game modes where it keeps your records, like the endless stuff. I currently only have a record for sprint because, again, that's like my favorite game mode. So general awards, there are, you know, Steam achievements, all that good stuff. A little side note is that it didn't say it had Steam achievements before I got it, and that was a little point of disappointment for me, because admittedly I am a little bit of an achievement hunter, and so when I like a game I like to go for all the achievements. I still didn't think it was a big deal for something like Tetris, because it's one of those games you just play and not really achievement hunt in anyway. As you can see, I have none for Puyo, but most of them for Tetris already. We have the theater where you can rewatch scenes and also watch your replays that you saved. I haven't saved any yet because, you know, I haven't done anything super special or anything, so your graphics, resolution, all that stuff. I'm still rocking a GTX 970. Haven't upgraded in a while because GPU prices are freaking crazy right now. That's a different topic though. You can change the gamepad controls. I believe you can also use like a joystick, so like go really classic. Also mouse and keyboard, which I would use if I wasn't already so accustomed to controller, because I'm sure you can get better speeds with a mouse and keyboard. You can change the background, so the stage, they would say. You can also change how the Puyos and Tetraminos look. The audio, you can change the different levels as well as the Japanese or English voice. And your Puzzle League options, what you prefer to play while you're fighting an online opponent. And lastly, we have the shop where you can spend your accumulated points to buy certain appearance-like things, like different forms of Puyos, different forms of Tetraminos. I kind of got my eye on the star here. We're going to go ahead and buy it just because I kind of want to see what that looks like in game. And also voice lines, voice packs for your favorite characters. Those are kind of expensive actually, 2,500 credits. So going to make that change in the settings there. Let's go ahead and head back on over to Sprint. Alright, well yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I could get used to this really. It's pretty bizarre looking at them like that, and I think my speed would probably suffer for at least a little while until I get used to it. But it is pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, at the end of everything you play, you get some credits, and then you can use those to buy the things. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my little review. Overall, I am satisfied with the game as a whole. It's nice that they do have the Puyo Puyo game as well, because that is always the option there. And I do remember enjoying it a lot when I was playing it, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, so I could definitely get back into that. Again, I do have a couple complaints, one I didn't mention yet, but the ones I did mention were the fact that apparently you can't play multiplayer with those challenge modes like sprint and marathon and whatnot, and also the CPU difficulty either is not there or it's more obscure than it should be. Besides that, I wish there were more options for control. While you can change what the buttons do, you can't change how they react. So for example, like when you're moving the Tetris pieces and you hold the right or the left button, there's a small delay before it starts quickly going to the right or to the left. And if they can make that delay shorter or longer depending on your preferences, that would be good. I saw this like in Tetris Ultimate. Not even going to talk about that game. Did not like that one at all because there was like all sorts of weird problems with it, but I noticed there was that option there, so I would have liked to see that one here. It's not a super big deal because I think I will get used to this specific delay over time. Besides the fact I'm pretty rusty and I haven't played Tetris in a while, I've noticed my speed is pretty much all there besides a few mistakes, dropping it a little bit too early. But besides that, I am satisfied. I like Tetris, and I think I'll get into Puyo Puyo as well eventually. There are also lessons if you're completely new to this type of game, so little tutorials there. It's completely optional though, so that's nice. But yeah, tell me what you think about it in the comments down below. Anyone else out there a fan of Tetris or Puyo Puyo? I think Puyo Puyo isn't as popular as Tetris is, because Tetris is a classic. No one doesn't know what Tetris is, I think. But yeah, leave that down there in the comments below. Also, leaving a like if you happen to enjoy would also be greatly appreciated. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.